I don't know anyone that likes the word no. I certainly don't. Get your coffee. In the last 20 years, one of the largest demographic shifts in the United States has been from religious to non-religious. Polling agencies like Gallup and Pew Research have noted the shift often. In the US, there are now nearly as many that identify as non-religious, sometimes referred to as the nones, N-O-N-E-S, as there are evangelical Christians. But while it is common to meet people that are non-religious, it is also rare to find that those same people did not previously have a connection, especially in their childhood, to a church. And many of those individuals that once attended church have memory of a song that they sang when they were in Sunday school as a child, a song that comes directly from 1 John chapter 4. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. 1 John 4, 7 and 8. I'm not going to sing it, but you might remember the tune in your own heart or in your head at the moment. God is love. And God has demonstrated his love for us in that when we were still far from him, walking in disobedience, rebellion, and sin, he sent his son to die for us. Now, there are many different stated reasons that people leave their faith. In the last couple of years, there have been a number of high-profile Christian singers and speakers that have had rather public deconversions. They tend to share their deconversion stories on social media, and they do so in a similar way that they once shared their Christian testimony. Oftentimes, they'll say things like, "I no longer believe because there's a lack of evidence," or "I stopped going to church because the church was filled with bigoted and hateful people," or "My faith just doesn't seem reasonable any longer. I have too many scientific questions that my church couldn't answer." Rarely is it true that there are no reasonable answers for their difficult questions. More likely, they haven't spent as much time considering the answers as they have the questions. But the objection that the church is filled with bigoted and hateful people is, I believe, nonsensical. Clearly, one of the primary reasons this objection is leveled at the church is that the church has doctrinal positions dealing with morality which require the church and Christians to say no to certain behaviors. Now, it may be true that we may sometimes say no in a seemingly unloving way, but virtually every time I say no to my own kids, they might wrongly conclude that my no is due to a lack of love. Of course, that would be an immature perspective. The fact is, God says no. He says no to many behaviors. Murder, no. Deception, no. Adultery, no. Sexual immorality, no. And he says no because of his nature. God is love. And it is because of his nature that he says no. He says no to the things that he knows would steal, kill, and destroy your life now and for eternity. And then out of his love, he came to the world so that we might live through him by his death on the cross. Now, we're not always good at saying no in a loving manner, but understand that even our seemingly unloving no's are from a place of love. And when Christians fail to be loving in a manner that rightly represents Christ's love, it has been my experience that they own it. And they do their best to love better next time. Because we have this ethic. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. Something to think about. We'll see you next time.